Let me hit my button, see what happens. The go live button. Okay. It says we're live. So, welcome from the Crossroads of America, talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience, put them in the chat, or email me at rickslife as I see it at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Got a Patreon page, PayPal, all that other information down in that info section there. So there we go. Let's see in the chat if anybody's come in yet. Yeah, we got first in was 2 Live Moo, then Rich White, Patriot in the Dark, Jason Stewart, MK Joe, G23 so far are in the room here. So at least somebody's listening to me. All right. It's so I was just checking to make sure everything's working here. Seems to be. All right. Where's my chat? There it is. Raphael's just dropped in. That's good. So, yeah, I was just saying before we went live is that here in southern Indiana, it's 94 degrees and humid. But, and the forecast for the next 4 or 5 days is in the 90s. So, and it's looking good. It's looking good because I wanted to go shoot. As I said, I think it was Wednesday. I said I was going to try to go shooting Thursday or Friday. I never made it because it goddamn rained again. You know? So, now this afternoon, it's beautiful out there, but I'm doing my show here. So, you know, so I'm definitely going to go next week. Definitely. I'm going to tell my buddy I'm going to show up and shoot rain, even in the rain, even though I don't like doing it. Mind you, though, as I was telling Rich, this buddy where I showed him on his land, he lives in the woods. He's surrounded 360 degrees by woods all around his cabin. And those goddamn, what do you call them? What's the word for them, Rich?
The cicadas.
Yes, absolutely so loud here in Indiana. This part of Indiana, it's unreal. So I don't know if I'm going to need hearing protection because they're making so much noise. I don't know if I'll be able to hear the shot go off.
You'll need hearing protection because of them.
Well, yeah, actually, it might help. I might have to double up. You know,
they're starting to fall dead here.
Well, yeah, they are starting to die. I think they should be buried back in the ground, and by the end of the month, I think they said it lasts about the end of June. So,
my daughter's kitten got a hold of one the other day and was batting it around.
Yeah.
Somehow it got in the house and he was just going nuts chasing the thing.
Yeah. So, all right, there we go. Oh, and that's where I'm waiting for other people to come in. Somebody just joined us. Who was that? William Willard, how you doing?
Doing real good. Thanks, Rick.
That's great. All right. And for anybody who's interested, I hope I'm streaming okay. I've got my AR-15 on the wall there with my rnldisplay.com. I have the, I don't know if you can see I got the stand, but I got it on the wall mount right now. And I think it looks cool on the wall mount because it looks like nothing's holding it up. You know? So it looks like it's just suspended in space, which is pretty good. That's for the AR-15. And I believe now he's got them for AKs. Hell, I don't remember them all, but he's got for what's called, they use the I gotta write this all down, but he uses the one that uses the Glock mags that hell, I can't think of. Rob, what's all the guns you cover now?
Well, hello everybody. Cover
AR-15 style that receives AR-15 magazine, Glock magazine, so PCC carbines or whatever that take Glock mags. Mini 14 will work on the AR-1. Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 has a kit as well. AK still in the works.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So anyway, go to that website, and when you get to the checkout and ask for your discount code for 15% off, type in Rick's Life, all one word. So there you go. And you could have a cool firearm hanging on your wall, suspended on your wall in space, like I have. Or you could use the other desk or wall, what do you call it, wall stand or table stand or desk stand or whatever, you know. But I said I got it hanging there, and I think it looks pretty cool. So, all right, let's see who else has joined us now. Oh, the chat's starting to fill up now because we got Grim 90, Sabrina's here, Southpaw RX is here. That's good. So people starting to show up now. Okay. My title now, I've got to admit, I didn't watch Caliber Corner this morning. I hope this topic wasn't covered. You know, it was to do with practicing or training. Is there a difference? That's one of my questions. But normally, when I practice, I use Full Metal Jacket ball ammo to practice. But as a defense ammo, I use, a hollow point type, bullet. But, where I'm going with it, should you practice with the kind of defense ammo that you carry all the time, or does it matter using ball ammo to practice with and having the hollow point in case you have to use it in a dire situation? So what do you think, Rich?
I try to put some of the defensive ammo through my gun if I'm at the range with it. But there's also now that you got companies that are making corollaries, which are a Full Metal Jacket, but they have the same ballistic coefficients and whatnot as what their defense ammo would. So it depends on what you're shooting, really. You get I think Federal and Winchester both do it, where they have the packs that comes with the defensive ammo and the range ammo, where the range ammo is supposed to simulate the defensive ammo, where they're supposed to be pretty much, equal as to what they do with their ballistics and everything. So it depends on what you're carrying, what rounds you're using. If you're not using one of those that has the actual corollary, it's always good to at least fire one or two magazines of your defense ammo, so because it's going to impact differently than what your range ammo is going to at that point.
Yeah, you're right. I'll fire my defense ammo not every time I go to the range, but maybe every 2 or 3 months I'll fire a magazine or two. Just to clear out the old ammo and put fresh in. Basically, is why I do it. But anyway, what do you think, Jason?
I normally just shoot Full Metal Jacket ball ammo. I do need to start shooting and trying out some different defense ammo. Not sure where I'm going to get it from, but I'd say generally the hollow points I have aren't really defense ammo, any of the name brand other than just a hollow point. So I need to actually shoot some of that this summer and get some testing done with it. But I generally just use a Full Metal Jacket ball round for all my range stuff.
Yeah, I do. I think what in the hell is mine? Critical defense? Is it? No, I can't. What in the hell's the name of it? It looks like a screwdriver. I loaded it on myself. Looks like a Phillips screwdriver. I can't think of the name of them right off the top of my head right now.
They got Lehighs.
Underwood. Yeah,
What?
The one that Underwood sells already loaded. It's extreme penetrator or extreme defense, one of the two.
Yeah. So plus I've loaded my own defense ammo. So and I tested them and they work, so I'm confident enough to have that loaded in my gun. So
yeah, that's what I carry in my P38. I mean, my Shield EZ380.
yeah.
Is the the Underwood version.
Yeah. So what about you? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
What about you, New York Outcast?
Are we asking about, is there a difference between practice and training, or
No.
the ammunition?
And we're on the ammunition right now. Should you train with the ammunition that you carry in your defense thing?
I pretty much agree with most of the people here. I think, well, actually, I'll be different. I just try to buy on the same grain lengths in a sense. So therefore, it's pretty much the same. Point of impact may vary slightly, but if you're using the same brands of ammo, you kind of get used to it. So that's why before all this COVID crap, I would stick to like 3 brands, and that's pretty much it. Now I've bought whatever I could get in a lot of cases, but it alters a little bit, but basically I try to stick to the same things for that reason, for consistency between either one. But in general, I've shot way more FMJ than hollow points, just because it's cheap. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've definitely tested them on paper. If you haven't, I recommend you do, because if you haven't seen it, there is a difference. So you'll be able to see that, as Rich, I believe, pointed out and whatnot earlier. So between different brands of ammo, different weights. So if you're taking any shot at distance, that you are going to need to factor that, in my opinion.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, in a defense situation, 10 yards is stretching it in the distance between two people.
They say most are close, but sometimes we don't just carry for us or whatever, and it could be the fence of your neighbor, and you're taking a shot across your yard. I don't know. That's all on an individual.
Yeah, but where I was going with this is, I mean, when I go shooting, right, I don't try to get all 8 rounds in the same hole. You know what I'm saying? Long as I can hit that 6 to 8 inch round steel plate, right? As long as I'm hitting it. If I hit it 8 times, that means I've got center of mass. The guy is going down.
I think a lot of people probably think that way, but targets don't move usually, so there's a difference. And as it's stated in a movie, aim small, miss small. So
but if you're,
we all end up there.
If you're aiming at a 6-inch target,
we could all improve.
If you're aiming at a 6-inch target, yes, it's stationary, it's not shooting back. But where I'm going with this is, if you can hit that, say your defense ammo that you carry in your gun hits it dead center, but your ball point hits it high. As long as you're hitting it, you're hitting that mass, aren't you? So
I've seen people at my range with a silhouette target. You know what I mean? Just the larger size you buy with the human cutout on it. And I've seen people mag dump on those and get 1 round into the shoulder or something. So, I mean, there are people out there that just can't hit a 6 or 8 inch.
Yeah, well, they must be.
You're ahead of the game if you can, I guess, But
that must be local police force that can't hit it. You know,
I've seen more than a few people at my range on those silhouette targets, and yeah, I mean they're just having fun. But I look at it and I'm like concerned and scared for you.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, Gunpowder Beauties joined us in the chat room. Wow, good to see you. Ain't seen you in a while. I saw some. I didn't see it all, but I saw some part of a video where you're having your head shaved. So
Yep.
I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, you do. She
Yeah.
did it in support.
In support of what?
Crazy.
You didn't finish that, Jason.
Oh, I must have let go of the space bar
Cancer.
button. Her mother or her mother-in-law, I forget at the moment, is battling cancer.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. Patriot in the dark. Do you practice all the time with ball ammo, full metal jacket, or your defense ammo, hollow points, or whatever?
Well, how you doing? It depends, but before all this nonsense started, years ago, I bought, I want to say it was LAX, but that's an airport. One of the companies that do, I believe it's remanufactured or they reload, whatever. I had bought a bunch of 45 and 9 that were hollow points, but they were just, I don't know what, I know the weight, but I didn't, they weren't for defensive use. So I use those a lot. I if you can find that stuff, you probably can't anymore, but I have a bunch of that. And so I use the hollow point stuff, and depending on what it is, if I'm just out practice, it's nothing I'm going to carry, then I'll just use full metal jacket. But that option used to be out there. But yeah, definitely want to, stick with the same weight. But
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, but I'm not agreeing with Rob because I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. now that's a good point you just brought up there. Is like if like when I was using my when I was carrying the 45, the defense ammo was 230 grain. My hollow points, I mean my full metal jacket is the same weight, a 230 grain bullet.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you keep the weights the same or whatever, and
yeah, when I reload, I do the same thing. My reloads are the same weight as my defense ammo. So there we go. Anyway, well armed. What about you? Do you practice with hollow points?
I do every once in a while. I mean, so when I go to the range, I carry my Sneaky Pete on my holster, like normal. And then about once a month, I'll just shoot the magazine through just to make sure it's good to go. A long time ago, about 15 years ago, I noticed hollow points used to come all in used to buy hollow points in boxes of 50 and not these 20 and 25. And so back then, I bought a bunch of ammo, especially the Hydro Shock. That was the brand that used to come in the 50 pack. And so I bought a whole buttload of that, like about 2,000 rounds. And so I still got a bunch of it. But it comes in an older box. It's neat stuff. So I do shoot it. I do practice with it. But it is, those 50 boxes or 40 boxes, whatever I had, they're coming to an end. So yeah, nothing lasts forever. But I had it for that was probably 15 years ago that Hydro Shock started coming in boxes of 15 or 20 or 25.
Okay. All right. So seems we're all the same thing there. But yeah. Okay. Now we're getting on to the next question is there a difference between practice and training? Who should we start with? We'll start with you, New York Outcasts. Is there a difference?
I think so. Practice is kind of leisurely. You're doing your own thing. In some cases, having fun, just getting out, getting your time in, getting it done. Training involves goals, instruction, even if it's from yourself, I guess, and trying to follow a routine, I think. So, I don't know. And I think, that'd be, I guess, like anything else, going to play sports with your friend or being on a team, there's, a bit of a difference on how you go about things.
That's good. That's a good that's a good point. Hey, what do you think, Will and Well Armed? Is there a difference between practice and training?
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I consider training when you have your timer on and trying to improve, and even maybe even keeping records of what you did before, so you know what time you're trying to beat, or So right now I'm practicing mag changes. That's one of my weaknesses. So you got to isolate that, and you got to get into smaller sections. So you don't shoot the whole magazine of 15 rounds to do practice with mag change. You have 2 rounds, and then you shoot 2 rounds. You do a mag change, and then you shoot another 2 rounds, and you do another mag change. So that's how I work on little things. I isolate things to practice on the part that I'm weak on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. What about you, Patriot?
Well, I see training as learning a new skill or a technique, and practice is refining it. So you can play around, I guess, but practice is when it's doing something you already know, and you're just trying to refine it. But I think training is more learning something that's new, or a new way of doing something. I guess you can learn. I don't know. I guess that's the way I separate it. But regardless if you pay somebody or not, learning a skill, wherever you get that skill from, hopefully it's a good skill. But that's what I see training as is learning something new, or a way of improving it, and then practice is just that, practicing that new skill.
Okay, yeah. Oh, in the chat, by the way, you were right. 2 Live Moose said it is LAX ammo.
Is it?
Yeah.
And that stuff was in bulk, so it was all loose pack. So you buy 1,000 rounds, and it's a big, huge box in a Mylar thick plastic bag. But yeah, I liked it just because it was the first time I had bought bulk, and it was came in 4 or 5 big boxes like that. So
yeah. All right, Jason, is there a difference between practice and training?
Well, I think Patriot just said it perfectly. I don't know how you could describe it any better than that. So I'll agree with him and pretty much everybody else here on the panel.
Right.
But Patriot really expressed that well.
Yeah, he does. He does occasionally. Every squirrel gets it right, once in a while. Even what they say, even a broken clock's right twice a day. So unless it's digital, then you're shit out of luck. Rich, you agree with everybody?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with what Patriot said. Like Jason was saying, he pretty much nailed it exactly. So don't got much to add to it.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, well, we got around the room on that one. We've been going for a whole 30 minutes.
You can refer my questions to Patriot in the Dark, since he does such a good job.
Yes,
he's my official spokesman.
Well, he is the man, the myth, the legend.
Every squirrel can tell time twice a day or something. I heard.
Yeah,
I think something like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Just All right. You guys got anything you want to talk about? You know?
I thought it was every blind squirrel could find a clock every once in a while.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to touch on some info I heard a while back, but I never forgot it. You know, Wilson Combat, Bill Wilson, Ken Hackathorn sit around talking. They started talking about defense ammo, and you know, those are just two down to earth guys. You know what I mean? Bill Wilson's not really sitting there selling his products or anything like that. They're just trying to share some experience and knowledge. And you could tell by his reaction when he described this that, you know, he was pretty genuine. He's selling them, but he also, I have the load data for him. At one time, he published the reload data and was selling the bare bullets, but he's got a line of ammunition that he's selling. It's a 9mm, 115 grain, but it's a plus P hollow point. It's using a Barnes hollow point projectile. And they were both, him and Ken Hackathorn, both sitting there saying that is the most accurate 9mm ammunition they've ever found. And I went and looked at it. It wasn't too pricey. It was a normal price of everything else. But he did give the load date on it. I have it somewhere. I was just now looking what people were talking, and I don't think it's on their website anymore. But I got it somewhere in my archives. But yeah, I just remember it's a Barnes, like XTP bullet hollow point, and they say that it is the most accurate they ever came across.
All right. Sounds good. So, yeah, I mean, I said, I'm starting to, you know, as everybody knows, once you can get the stuff, go back to reloading. But luckily, I got plenty to, backed up that I can shoot. I mean, as I said before, I got enough primers to reload my 380 about 300 times. You know, that's the only thing I'm primers, and that's the one thing that's not out there because I keep checking. I need small rifle primers too, for I can start reloading 223.
I can't find primers, and just pretty much have gave up looking until they're readily available. But
yeah,
I can't find powder at all. I can't find not like 1 pound of powder that I need at all.
No, I think powder. I'll put it this way: I think like powder and primers are going to be the last things that come back.
Did you get that email I sent you, Rick?
When did you send it?
I think I sent it yesterday. There was an ad for I don't know what kind of powder it was, but let me. I'll see if I can find it.
I don't remember you sending me one.
Jason.
Rob,
did you catch that in that video that I sent you? Where they were talking about the 9mm, that ammunition, all that type of stuff, and basically how 9mm is still king.
Oh yeah, what is that called? How'd they say that? Geez, I can't think of it. I got a mind blank right now. Sort of like why 9mm, the king of ammunition, like you were saying. Geez, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Is why 9mm on top or something like that?
Yeah. Talking about 9mm, even what you call it? The magazine from Concealed Carry is all about 9mm this month. The whole magazine's dedicated to it.
Yeah, I think all the gun expert people, they've shot like 1 million rounds more than any of us, so their hands are worn out, and they're going to, they prefer the 9mm, but I just think they just too old to handle something else.
Yeah. But okay. I mean, so say they do the ballistics and everything else, right? As i.e. the 9 mil goes just as deep and everything else. But surely, because of the size, the 45 has to make a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Either entering or coming out.
I'm not a ballistics expert, but if you look at everything and then just think about the use of each different caliber, that common use or whatever, 9mm just kind of sits right there in the sweet spot. You know what I mean? Anything less starts being kind of weak.
Yeah, but
anything more, it's powerful, but you got to make a big jump to get a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
Like even 45, its foot-pound energy is just slightly more than hot 9mm, but it's moving slower. So like for the 9mm, you're still getting a good hit, and you got a lot more rounds you can carry and less recoil. So it kind of just found its way into the sweet spot in the middle. You know what I mean? And I'd kind of rather be in the sweet spot than on the edge of too little or on the edge of too much.
Yeah, but here's a question for you, or here's a statement. 45 ACP won 2 wars. That's all I'm saying.
And 9mm put down a whole lot of Taliban too.
Now, question.
Hold on. A buddy of mine that was in Delta, he said that all those operators prefer 45, all of them in Delta Force, because it really puts them down better. He said, you don't have to worry about somebody jumping up from a pile behind the door or whatever.
Yeah.
He said, just 45 works.
Yeah. But I believe those people, those top tier operators and stuff, whether it's Army or Navy or whatever, the SEALs or Delta, whatever, aren't they given leeway on what handgun they can carry and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, he gets like a custom made, like they get allowance up to like $4,500 for one pistol.
Yeah,
so he has a custom made 45 for him.
Yeah,
and so they get it made in, it's 1911.
But really, man, I'm always kind of cautious taking like advice from like the special forces and the operators and stuff. Yeah, they do a wonderful job and they're doing like the ultimate job, but they're kind of in a different scenario than you and I. Like for them, if they got a pistol and I use this pistol, whatever, how much did you actually use it? Because you shouldn't really be dealing with that 45 pistol unless your rifle doesn't work or you don't have it,
Yeah, true.
So like 9mm for us on the street with the extra capacity might be the advantage that we need,
No, I mean,
we're in defense, they're in offense,
Jason, I mean, those guys are, I mean, he's actually used a 22 with the silencer and taken out a bodyguard. I mean, they use every weapon under the sun. These guys have had their tattoos removed in case they're caught. I mean, it's a whole different unit than anything else out there. I mean, they're wearing full long hair and beard. I mean, I've seen a guy in a marijuana field in Afghanistan, and he's got one of those little Kapesh hats on, one of those little Pasha hats on, and he looks like a Taliban himself. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but I understand where you're coming from, Jason. Here's a question for you, everybody, though. I said, when it comes to ballistics, I mean, I get lost on all this shit. And everybody says, like the 45 is slower than the 9mm. Well, it might sound stupid, but I've never seen anybody outrun a 45. So what difference does it make if it's a few feet, if it's a few pounds slower once it hits I mean, I don't understand the principle behind when people say that. When it hits you, it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah, but it's distance and drop rate of the bullet, how much energy it's got at different distances. There's a lot that goes into it.
Well, you get hit with
I think the 45 is a good hit with a 45 is probably going to equal out better in some cases than a good hit with a 9. But in the end, it all comes down to shot placement. So it doesn't really matter what you're shooting with if you're not hitting anything to actually shut somebody down. So in a sense, that's where the 9mm again gives you advantage because we are human. We do make mistakes. We're not all John Wick, so it gives you a few more chances to get it right. That's my opinion. There's I don't think wrong on it. It's just personal preference. Yeah.
Well, that's why I use a 380 because I am John Wick. I gotta be. We're using a 380. I got to get them in the head every time.
I think it's kind of human nature that we're scared of the size of the hole you might get poked with. Like there's a little tiny bee, a bee sting pokes a little minute little hole in you. You're scared of it. Some people don't like a shot with a needle. It's a little tiny one. So, okay, yeah, you can handle a little tiny needle. Well, if I break out a framing nail in front of you, you don't want me to poke that in you because the first thing you're looking at is how big around that nail is. So it kind of carries over to the bullets. You just naturally assume a bigger hole means bigger trouble.
Yeah, well, it normally does.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
But my pair of ordnance, it's a compact. It's the same shape and size and length and height as a Glock 19, but it holds 12 rounds. So, the pair of ordnance B12. It's a pretty, double stack 1911. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, me going down to the 380 because of the arthritis in my hands. I mean, it's cut down on the amount of ammo that I can carry in a magazine. What was it, 8? Is it 8 in there? Plus 8 plus 1?
Yeah. And the Shield EZ, yeah.
But what 45 were you shooting? It was a polymer 45, right?
Yeah, it was a Smith & Wesson M&P 45. It only carried 10, mine.
Yeah, but it's a compact and it's polymer.
No,
so
mine was full size.
Oh, it only held 10 rounds?
Yeah, that's when I got it. That's the one that's the one I bought because at the time when I was living in Rhode Island and they were talking about limiting magazine size at the time. So I thought, well, hell, I might as well go ahead and get just a 10 round, and that's what they're going for. But stupid me. But I didn't know anything back in those days. And that law never did pass, so I could have got, one that carried more. But there you go. You live and learn. Even with 9 rounds like now, or even with the 10 rounds in that 45, if you go through the whole magazine, you're in a serious lot of trouble. If the thread hasn't stopped, that's the way I look at it. Here's another thing too. Wouldn't it be better to have a 45 if the guy is a meth head? Because you know what I'm saying. Because a lot of times they can soak up a lot of pain and keep on coming.
Shoot him in the face.
Yeah, do the job.
It may depend where you are too. What your common threats are. Do you have people shooting through cars? A lot of times. Are you in buildings with steel doors? All that type of stuff. Where do you spend your time? Because when it comes down to it, 9mm does penetrate better than 45. So in some cases, you might be at a disadvantage or risk injury. From deflection. So it's just something to consider. Even with 9mm, usually when I go out, I've got both hollow points or FMJ, because a lot of people do that. They'll get everything's fine. They'll have nothing to do with nothing. And the next thing you know, somebody's, taking shots from a car. Now, most of the time, they're usually just randomly shooting, trying to like make a point, like, make a scene, blah, 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 and drive away. But every once in a while, things do get crazy. So, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, you live in a world. You live in a strange world up there in New York. I tell you.
That's before he pulls out his
people don't make
blowgun.
any sense here.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll fight to death over whose yard you're in, parking spot, grass clippings, you name it. It doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah. Well, you saying, Patriot?
I said you could just pull out your blowgun and distract them, and they'll look around on the ground for a while. You have to hear Rob's story about that.
Okay.
It does work.
I keep hearing the stories out of New York City, and it just got to be going downhill terrible. I don't know how they even thought this would be a good idea to do that, like bail reform. No bail, you get arrested, you get thrown right back out on the street. No bail. I mean, how could they even possibly think that was a good idea?
That one guy, he robbed 3 banks in a 24-hour period, and he kept getting released before they could finish the paperwork, and he was robbing another bank.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Jason, they don't think. That's why.
Not only that is by doing that he realized they put people out of work. The Bell's bondman, the bounty hunter.
Well, you put people out of living if you don't lock up some of these criminals.
I know.
A lot of times it's an asshole on the end of your block, and then the next day he's back still harassing everybody again. And then, the honest person that actually stands up or fights back ends up doing more time than the criminal that's back out the next damn day. Like it's pushing people to a bad spot, put it that way, because at some point people are just going to snap on this.
Man, I've always been on the belief, whether it's harsh or not, because we've had plenty of incidences around here that are heartbreaking stories, and they're all across this country, of somebody gets released from prison who shouldn't have been released, and then within a few months, short period of time, they kill somebody else, or they murder and rape and kidnap a pretty little girl from around here or something. I've always on the impression of whatever dumbass signed the piece of paper, sat in some parole hearing or what the hell ever, somebody in the bottom line is in charge. Whoever signed a piece of paper to let that person out, I mean, you can't really attack them, but at the very least, they should lose their damn job.
I agree with you. And see, and then that goes back to, and that's where people say, well, that's the argument about letting, convicts, for lack of a better word, or people with a record have their Second Amendment rights back, because they're letting people out who shouldn't be let out. And,
they're allowing policemen to be charged, and sued. Why don't they allow judges to be sued for letting these criminals out? How about being able to sue that judge that let that criminal out, 3 times, and then he murders there was one real heinous one where he beat his wife beat his girlfriend with a hammer 30 times. The judge let him out, and then he killed her. He shot her in the head 30 days later. I mean, that judge should be, put in prison at that point.
Yeah, did you read that article the other day about the that guy who raped? I think he was 18 at the time, and he actually raped a 14-year-old, and I think he's 22 now, and he's been in jail these last couple of years, 4 years or whatever, and the judge let him go with time served. How is that justice? you know. But what the hell do I know?
We just had a guy here. I'm pretty sure he was in prison for some pretty heinous crimes. They were attacks against women, assault and rape and stuff. But they let him out of jail, and they said after the very first month, they lost contact with him, and he had one of the ankle bracelet things. He took that off, destroyed it, threw it in the river, whatever. So they lost total contact with him. Then on the second, midway through the very second month that he's been released from prison, we have an old retirement neighborhood that's like old classic Victorian style houses. You know what I mean? A nicer neighborhood. He went there and beat up and stole the purses of maybe 5 or 6 elderly women in like a week, 2 weeks time. He tried getting in the door of a couple houses, and the police were like, even on the news, stepping up patrols looking for him. And then just right after that happened, he couldn't go back to that neighborhood, so he went down to the college neighborhood, and he kidnapped a sweet, pretty-looking little college girl, Reagan, and took her all around town trying to get money out of her ATM machine. End up getting less than like $100 out of like a couple different ATM machines, and then drove her out into the country, into wildlife preserves, and raped her, and then being a felon pulled out a pistol and shot and killed her. And he hadn't been out 2 months.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, as you said, the people who signed the release papers, they need to be thrown in jail for doing it.
At the very least, lose their job, because they have their job to make an informed decision that's in the public safety's interest. I don't give a shit about the convicted criminal's best interest. His best interest ain't even to be here. It doesn't hurt my feelings for him to stay there. He doesn't even need a hearing. But they are responsible for that. They let him go. There should be responsibility. You can't go arrest them or maybe sue them all, but at the very least, they should lose their job for incompetence.
Well, would it be wrong to, for, say, this girl's father to take out personal justice on this guy? Would it be wrong in your guys' eyes morally?
On air or off air? I'll probably say answer.
All right. Well, I'll just put it on air in a sense. I mean, if you did that to my daughter, the police would be a safety net. So that's all I'm saying. And I can tell you more off air, but it's certain things are worth going to jail for if it comes down to it. I'm sorry. I mean, but, honest to God, that's just what it is.
I mean, on air, I wouldn't blame the father if anything happened.
Sometimes your soul just can't rest until there's vengeance.
And people need to pay attention to the elections. This is one of those situations where elections have consequences. People don't pay attention who's running for judge or prosecutor in their area, and then you get things like this happening because they put people on there just because they may have a D or an R after their name, not paying attention to what the record of what this judge has done in the past. And then you get asshole judges letting people out who should be in prison for 50 years with only a suspended sentence. You got to pay attention in the ballot box, folks. This is why we have these judges on the state level that are up for election, so this kind of shit doesn't happen, but people keep voting these kinds of fucking idiot judges into office.
Yeah, it's really easy, people. They put a D at the end of the name. That tells you don't. And the R stands for right. One stands for don't. One stands for right. And if you can't figure it out, just leave it blank and go to the next one.
Yeah, you're right. You do. I mean, as Rich is right. There's consequences for everything that we vote in, But, hey, 80 million people said this guy is the guy we want to run our country. The most beloved president of all time.
Should be consequences amongst us people as well. It's just sad in some ways that some of this stuff gets away. Like, it seems like these victims have nobody that cares about them, a bigger brother or somebody in some cases. It's just sad. It's almost as if a husband will just allow some man to punch his wife in the store, and he's just going to stand there and call the police. I mean, what kind of sad sacks of shit have we turned into, as a society in some cases? This is ridiculous.
That's what we turned, but that's what we're turning out. That's what the schools are turning out. It's all what people are being taught. The police. Good example of that shooting. Where was it, in Texas? 11 people shot or whatever, too seriously. It said the police were very quick to arrive to help with the damage that was, the people that are bleeding, doing first aid. There again, the police always come after the fact. The police aren't there when you need them at the beginning to stop it. So we're our own protector. So.
Yeah, so true. The police are never there when you need them, and that counts for a lot of situations. Like right now, my street, we usually have a lot of police presence, and every now and then they're kind of sitting there waiting to see if you're you're skipping the stop sign or you're speeding or something. But they're around. I mean, you can go out and see them drive by or catch them several times an hour. But since the weather's gotten nice, there's a couple local people that use my street as like their own personal drag strip. And you can hear them from miles away. And the motorcycle guys, there's a couple groups of them too. And they literally, it's like a racetrack out front.
Throw a couple
Boy,
of
there's never a cop in the neighborhood when they're around. Because I can hear them for probably up to a quarter mile, half mile away, still shifting gears. That's how loud everything is here. But there never seems to be a cop here. But I bet if I'm sipping a cup of coffee and just kind of roll through that stop sign out there, I bet he's hiding right there behind the school.
Yeah. Kingpin says, so we blame the teachers, who blame the government, who blame the cops, we blame the students, we blame the children. I haven't heard nobody blame ourselves. I did. We're the ones that caused it, because we let it happen.
I believe that was the whole point of my rant, was that idiots in the public are responsible for this.
Yeah. I think about this myself. I'm guilty because looking back, I didn't have a bad life. I thought it was a tough life growing up the way I grew up. Yes, I was in a military family. We went everywhere, but when I had kids, I made their life easier than what mine was, and so we are causing the problem.
Well, I grew up and lived my own life, not really trying to change the world. You know what I mean? I always told, I'd like to change the world, but I can't. But it seems now, got to do something to keep it from changing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not we. It may be the general public, but it damn sure ain't me. And then when you try to point things out to other people, what do? They make up excuses, or they just don't come around anymore. That's basically what happens. Like the common courtesies with how kids should eat, the normal stuff. Like, what I find strange is people want to bring their kids to your house or everywhere else to go teach them how to act, yelling and screaming. The parents yelling and screaming, acting like a damn fool. And the kids just basically giving them the finger, not caring. And then what do? They give in or go take them out for ice cream or leave because they're embarrassed. They don't address the issue properly. It's a damn sham. It's sad. You see all these grandparents out when you go out to eat. Kids will be chomping away, talking, food spitting out of their mouth, and they just sit there and look at you and kind of shake their head. Why don't they say something? I mean, there should be general courtesy. There's, an old person at the door. You're standing by the door. Grab the damn door. Open the door. Is it a big deal? It's just general courtesy. Somebody drops something, you pick it up. Not to steal it. You hand it back to them. But, that's just not there. People have gotten too afraid to stand out and be different because general public TV, everything will isolate you if you do.
Yeah, they'll ridicule you for.
You want to die with your principles, or do you want to make a bunch of shitbags happy? Take your choice.
Well, is that human nature? Because YouTube is a good example, i.e., the comment section. Right? You might get, say, 30, 40 comments that are praising you. What a great job you did. What a great video that was. But you get one or two that criticize it, say you're bad. All you do is focus on those. That, you understand what I'm saying? So if you're at the restaurant and your kids are messing up, you should do something, but you're more worried about what other people are thinking of you. Which I think it's wrong, but that's human nature, isn't it?
Maybe, but I guess in my opinion, they'd be looking at it wrong because allowing or, approving, condoning, sometimes even rewarding bad behavior is a negative and going to be a down for society. So, get your shit together. That's the thing. Like, people don't like being a parent's a job. Okay, so you stumble into it. Oh, it happened. Well, whatever. You can take it serious or not, but it ain't about you. What makes you comfortable? Your feelings are out the damn window. Like, say goodbye to that shit.
Don't get me wrong. When I said I made my kid's life easier than mine was, there was still discipline there. They didn't tell me to go fuck myself, and I just let it slide. You know what I'm saying? There was discipline there, but I was talking about, if they wanted to do something, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to do it, but I would let them do it, type thing is what I was talking about, so, but discipline wise, no, my kids know my two sons know the difference between right and wrong, and what to do, how to be polite and everything else. I hope so. That's how I taught them. Yeah. So. I don't know. It's a weird world out there, but I don't know how to say it. I mean, society in general is to blame. There's certain people out there who do it right, but more of them do it wrong. But hey, we are the white supremacists, the 75 million that voted for Trump. That's the way it's been.
Deplorables.
We're deplorable. We're what's the word? Nathaniel? How you pronounce it?
Neanderthal.
Yeah, we're that too. We are a domestic terrorist.
Us and our Bibles and our guns.
Yeah, and waving the American flag is totally wrong because it scares people.
Yeah, it's a symbol of racism.
Yeah, but hey, as much as I dislike the guy, what's his name from his talk show on HBO, Bill Maher? He said some good shit last night. I read it this morning. That the liberals and everything else had gone way too far on this shit. America is not more racist today than it was before. It's not like it was 100 years ago when you had the Tulsa race massacre. It's not as bad as it was in the 60s. It's not as bad as it was when we had when we, during the Civil, when there was slave owners, right? The racism is not as bad today as it was then. There is, yes, there is going to be racism. There's always going to be some racism, but we're nowhere near. And that's what they're pushing. They're pushing this narrative that this country is the worst it's ever been. This is the best it's ever been. And more black people immigrate here legally from, overseas than there was. There was more every year of black people, or people of color, whatever you want to use, whatever term you want to use, immigrating here every year more than the number of slaves we goddamn had. It's I find it totally ridiculous, and I'm getting tired of it. And I don't put up with the shit anymore. Maybe I'm.
There's
Hey,
one thing.
Rick, can we change the subject just slightly?
Yes.
Because right now we got open comments on the button stocks and the braces. We need to get in there and make sure everybody on this panel out there, as well as people listening, are commenting also on the changes the FTA has for the lowers. There's about 78 pages of new documents that are coming down. It's going to affect us hugely. It could make 40 million people with braces felons overnight.
Here's a question for you. I agree with you in making comments. But honestly, this is my honest opinion. It's a waste of time because their minds are.
No, it's not. They'll be able to take
the
comments and take them to court. Take buckets.
Hey, look at all the comments that were put up about the bump stocks. They still went and done it anyway.
And look how many were put up about the braces when they were going to get rid of them in December, and they pulled it back and didn't do it.
I'm kind of with Rick. I don't think it's going to matter much. If they can just take an election in front of us and nobody does shit, what's to say it's going to matter now? And then the courts. The courts have been a joke lately. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Sure, hey, go ahead.
Go ahead. I am going to do that. What they're asking, But I personally, deep down, don't feel it's going to make a difference. Their mind is already made up that they're going to do it, and that's it. So, that's just my personal feel on it. So, I know that's upset a lot of people, but but I am going to do the thing on the open thing on the what they have now, the one on the lowers and stuff. Then they got the one on the braces, so.
Yep, exactly. They got two of them open right now.
Yes. And I'm going to do both of them. I'll be honest, I haven't done them yet, but I'm going to do both of them.
And you're not limited to just one. You can do it from the same email as many times as you want.
Now, okay, all right, but what good is that? They're going to see it's from the same email all the time.
Well, you could write a different letter. You could talk about one email how braces helped me as somebody in a wheelchair. Then in another letter I could write, hey, you're going to make 40 million people felons overnight. And then in another letter, the adjustability of brace, shouldn't be, it shouldn't be dedicated just because somebody's shouldering it. Just like crutches have adjustments on it because people are at different heights. People's forearms are different. You could write 3 letters completely different from the same address, and they'd be read 3 different ways.
That's another thing too. Even though you do, it doesn't mean that they're going to accept it. Because if you look, I don't know I saw it somewhere and I haven't seen it since. They say, like, I mean, I saw a website that showed that there was 70,000 entries, but only 45,000 were actually accepted.
They're not accepting form letters. So, if Georgia gun owner sends you a form letter and you send the same identical letter as everybody else, they just ignore, they read the first one and ignore the 750 that followed.
Now,
Yeah.
I wish we were using our energy to fight the ATF. Not voice a concern to them, but I mean fight them. Let's go to court in every single issue. Let's make a court case out of every single definition they got. Let's go to court and make them prove their reasoning behind it. What does it matter if this barrel is a quarter inch shorter than this barrel? How are you now a felon for a 15.5-inch barrel? What does it matter how you hold it? What does it matter how you hold it if it touches your shoulder or not, or how it's made, or any of their stupid rules? We should attack every bit of their rules and try to drive their existence out. Make them prove, show why. Okay, show me how having this barrel and paying $200 solves any crime. Show us. We need to take it on and fight them on every single issue of their whole entire NFA. Their whole entire existence. We need to take the fight to them instead of always complaining when they got a new idea, which is a threat. They're just threatening us is what they're doing. And we don't need to be scared. We need to take the fight to them. I'm serious. We need to push to just get rid of them completely. Take the F out of their whole department, and you guys go handle your liquor and your smokes.
One phrase. Legal standing. Unless you are being prosecuted under one of these laws, you do not have legal standing to just go into the courts and try and challenge anything that they pass. That's just the way the system works. You have to have legal standing to do so. Right now, none of us have legal standing to do so because we are not personally being prosecuted on any charges that can come out from these laws or whatnot.
Technically, if you're a citizen.
Yep. If you want to challenge it, you're going to have to build an SBR, take it to the ATF and say, I got this. What are you going to do about it? They arrest you, then you take them to court. That's how it works.
Even that's an issue, though, because technically, if you're a citizen, you could do an act that would put you under a law that they would hold over or use against you, whatever the case is. So just the fact that you can't go there and say we want to change things should be a flag, in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, they don't.
It's like a damn casino. It's a rigged game. People make money on both sides. Nobody wants to change because they're both making money. Even people on our side because they make money. So, and then you got the control factor, that lingers over the whole thing, where it's good for me, not for you.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, as Kingpin said out there in the chat, right? I understand where it says it's going to turn everybody into a felon overnight. You're only a felon if you're charged and prosecuted in a court. You know what I'm saying? Are they actually going to come in and arrest you at your gun range because you're holding a AR pistol with a brace on it? I doubt it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to live in that fear. You shouldn't have fear imposed upon you by the government. Any subject.
Well, the big thing that I think a lot of people are missing is this is all distractions, all of it, right? Who's been following, We the People bill, where's the voting? Who's been following what they're pushing in schools and stuff? There's a lot of things going on, and if we just focus at one little dot on the wall, there's a lot going to go by, and you always look at the left hand because it's doing the shady shit when the right hand's showing you the cards. So if that's fine to focus on one little thing, and that's why we're here, I guess. But I still think that people need to open their eyes and actually pay attention to all the other things that are going on. The things that are happening at your local school district that hey, shit, I ain't got no kid. It don't matter. I'm going to focus on this. That's fine. But that guy that's teaching your kid to, hate guns or whatever the fill in the blank is, you're going to end up dealing with it because that kid's going to graduate sometime. They're going to vote and they're like, well, shit, nobody told me that was a good thing. So there's a lot of things that people just kind of blow over because it's not in their fancy. It's not their wheelhouse. It don't give them, that tickle up their leg or whatever the hell it is. But you need to actually start paying attention to shit that you don't think affects you, because it does.
Doesn't Congress have any control over the ATF?
Doesn't the ATF, it falls under the, side?
They're the executive branch.
What?
It's the executive branch.
Yeah.
But I got to head up, guys. Got to go.
All right, Rich.
So
thanks for stopping by.
Yep.
Hey,
have a good day, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a total. You're right, Patriot. There's a lot going on. Even me, I need to keep on what the local school boards are doing around here, because it could affect me eventually.
It's a lot of work, and I understand that we only have finite amount of minutes in a day. But if you can sit there and watch some stupid YouTube guy with a cat and falling down or whatever you watch, you can actually check out the things that are going on, because they'll push stuff through because, hey, well, nobody's even mentioned it, so why not? Let's just that'll help out this. My local school, not even the school district, the city council, they were kind of called out on some things because they were pushing to guys that were part of the city council that were owned interests, as far as construction or whatever, and they were getting jobs and bids until, a young kid that just graduated high school decided he wanted to be on the city council and said, hey, wait, isn't that kind of a conflict? And a lot of stuff kind of comes out when you actually start looking at it. So,
oh yeah. You're right. It is, and I said this before. Everything starts at the local level. With your school board on up. And I'm guilty. Of I got nothing to do with that. Let them do it. Somebody wants to do it, so let them do it, even if it is the right person. It's the best, it's the, they're both wrong, but let's take the worst one of the best one of the two, that kind of thing. I'm guilty of doing that myself. But right now I have no excuse, because I don't work. I'm disabled. I'm retired, basically. So I got all the time in the world, And I do sit here and watch YouTube channels and cats and stuff. So I need to keep on top of it. But I tell you what, I was glad to see here. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was now in my local Clarion News. This is the free newspaper. It's left leaning. It's run by Democrat, but everybody knows it too. But I only read it for the obits mainly, to see if any of my relatives have died. And I look at the one with the sheriff's office to see if any of my you've got mail. See if any of my relatives have been arrested. So but where in the hell was it? Was it in this one or was it in last week's? Oh no, here it is. Next to court news. 50 students participated in May in the Southern Indiana High School Track League. So the high schools around here, at least allowing them to do trap. So it's
all the kids are playing baseball here now. Parks are full, cars, parents just packed in, lined everywhere, from the littlest kids to the middle school kids. Baseball's kicking here.
Yeah, but where I was going on about that is schools allowing, firearms, in trap shooting,
Oh, I thought you said track, like they were running track or
trap.
field.
Trap, shotguns, clay pigeons, as we used to call them in England. I don't know what they call them over here. So, I mean, schools are still allowing that. Schools here in Southern Indiana still do that kind of stuff. So.
I was laughing. I thought you meant the starting pistol. I'm like, well, geez, that's kind of, that's really not, I guess.
I mean, that's the way it's worded.
Yeah.
It says
trap shooting, yeah.
And the school
I don't know if they have that around here.
My first pistol was a starter pistol, but I couldn't seem to hit anything with it.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is, that our schools around here still allow firearm activity, sports, which I was amazed. I didn't think they did, but there we go.
The high school here, they do a lot of archery, but I haven't caught anything on the firearms yet.
So, I just happened to see that. I said I was looking at the court news because it's right next to it. Then that caught my eye, and so and there's none of my relatives are in the court news this week anyway. So, but I did have a relative die.
So the newspaper, its only purpose for you is doom and gloom.
Yes. Yeah.
The Doom and Gloom Gazette. Yeah,
I always check out the court news or the sheriffs and all that to see if I've been, my name's on there for something I didn't realize I'd done. Yeah. No, I mean, but I did find out I had a relative of mine died. I don't know. Yeah, it's a relative, but it's a distant relative because what would it be? It was my, I'm trying to think how, okay, let's work this out. It was my grandfather's, hang on, if I get it right. It was my grandfather's brother's daughter. So what would that make that person to me?
First cousin.
I'm related somehow in that thing. Right? Anyway, I mean, she's in her 70s. She passed away the other day, So
that's the first cousin.
Is it first or second?
I mean, you're both on the same generation, right? Your parents are brother and sister, right?
My grandfather's brother. I'm going back to my grandfather now. His brother. Right?
Okay.
So what, that'd be a great uncle to me? Yeah, that'd be a great uncle.
Yeah, I believe so.
Right? Great
uncle. Great cousin.
That's his daughter. So I think it's a second cousin, I think. Second or third.
So far, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the friend I was talking about earlier, going shooting at his house where he lives in a cabin. He's surrounded by woods. He's related to me too because his grandmother was the sister of my grandfather.
This explains why you can't get a date in that town.
Yeah, I mean, I'm related to everybody nearly around here, some way or another. I'm finding this out,
Around here, we're all cousins.
So I mean,
Brother.
if I get those women in the chat in there, if I in my old fat old age, if I get lucky, you know, after you finish, you might realize, and you're starting to talk, you might find out you're related. You know what I'm saying?
We met at the family reunion.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's countrified around here. I'm telling you, it really is. So, they believe in guns, God, fast cars, and that's about it. You know, and moonshine if you're into that. So, there you go.
You're a redneck, Rick.
Yeah, and you know, it's it is. It's I mean, it's strange. I'm getting used to it though. You know.
I should have set it up here. I took a picture the other day. I was going to mail it to Rob and say, look what I have to deal with every day. At the gas station was a pickup truck, and it was a 4-wheel drive Chevy that they lowered and put the little skinny tires on it, the big wheels. And then it was all dented up and all over it, and it was a white truck. But then he got the nice primer spray paint black like Z28 racing hood. That was like the really only good thing about the truck. He's got that on top of it. Then his license plate in the front is half American flag, half Confederate flag. And then he's got writing across the window. He affectionately named this vehicle the shit box. That's what I have to share the road with.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you didn't catch that, you know we're going downhill when I said this is a 4-wheel drive truck and they lowered it.
That's pretty sad. You know? Oh yeah, we're yeah, I mean they are. I mean they I mean I'm not into cars per se. But they're sitting there some days and they're talk about cars and the size of, they dropped this engine into it and it, you know, and they used to, and you know, I just sort of blank out because I have no clue what they're talking about because I was never into it, you know. But
you ever been in a fast car, Rick? Like
what?
Muscle car or anything?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a fast car?
Yeah.
Been sucked into the seat and
the
butterflies are going. All right, just checking.
Yeah, well, I have been, but I still, I mean, that side of it I enjoy, but the actual mechanical side I have no clue, and I'm not interested, to be quite honest with you. You know, but
it's that damn English blood, man.
It must be. You
and your little zippy little cars.
You know, as I said, like my friend, my cousin, whatever you want to call him. I mean, he not only does, I mean, besides, you know, the tractor, the pickup, the side by side, he also has a 2016 Dodge Challenger with some huge motor in it, and it's black with a red stripe down it, you know. And he does drag racing. So he built a drag car that he races. He's actually racing today down in Kentucky. So
if you ever go to New York, you can stop over at Rob's. They'll give you a ride in one of those muscle cars, those big, huge Civics. No? Nobody?
Yeah, I'll hook you up, man.
Yeah.
It'll be a ride you never forget.
Hey, man, a friend of mine, not this week, I didn't talk to him this week, but last week, he wrecked his pickup truck. But check us out. He bought a brand new Dodge pickup truck last year. And oh, my God, it was like $70,000. Right. He had to have this certain one. They couldn't even get it around here. They had to like ship it from another state and stuff. He wanted one with like the Power Wagon package or some shit like that. And I was telling him, man, them new Hemi motors are junk, dude. The internet's just full of everybody talking about how junk they are, and they ain't no good. Well, he bought it anyways, and I forget how many miles on it. He don't have much, like 20,000 miles. Engine blew up. Engine went bad on it, right? So he takes it to the dealership. They're gonna fix it, rebuild the whole engine. But they've had this truck for, probably close to 2 months. And he ran out of like rental cars, and he went and bought like a little used Toyota Rain Cruiser just to drive until his truck gets back for the dealer. He gets the truck back for the dealer. He's only had it a couple days, and a deer come out in front of him. This is the full-size, big-ass truck, the big boy, right? He hit a medium-sized deer with that truck. It went completely through the grill and radiator. Completely through it like a bullet going through a piece of drywall. The deer was all up in the engine itself. Popped the hood back, busted the hood against the windshield. And there wasn't even like a carcass. The deer is up in the truck. The whole road was littered with more parts from that vehicle that you ever seen in your life. It was complete vehicle carnage. But that totaled that truck completely out. A deer. A deer. Of all the things, like you could take, this is a brand new engine.
Truck.
Yeah, pussy truck. But this is a brand new engine that just went all this time of getting it rebuilt and fixed and redone, and you get it. And like your big bumper, your grill, your radiator, none of that slowed that deer down, and that deer hit up in that engine. It was wrapped around the engine like it was hugging it.
I bet he felt sick.
He's probably lucky as could be. That truck ain't worth a shit with that motor in it.
Yeah, I tried to tell. Last week they didn't know. He was going to know this week what the insurance company was going to do. If they were going to total it out. And I'd heard he said something about if they totaled it out, he was thinking about buying it back. And I was like, you better tell him no, because you're going to have $70,000 in a vehicle with a salvage title, and it ain't going to be worth 10 grand. So don't ever think about doing that. So. But one cool thing is he had a few guns in the truck, right? And when they were towing it away, he had to tell the state patrol. He goes, "I got some guns in the truck, and like a few guns or something." And state patrol told him, "Don't point them at me, and make sure you take them all with you."
That's the way it should be. Yeah. When you shoot holes in your drywall, call me and come to fix it, Kingpin says. I did that once by accident. I had a negligent discharge once. I don't know if I told you guys when I first got my firearm when I lived in Rhode Island. I had only had the firearm maybe 2 days, and it was loaded, and there's one in the chamber, and I just finished cleaning it, and so I put the mag in, racked it, and I'm looking at it, ready to put it back in my holster, and I drop it. Or I shouldn't have dropped it. It fell out of my hand. Well, I went to grab it, and of course, when I grabbed it, my finger hit the trigger, and bang, off it goes, and it went through. I just missed the TV. It went through the drywall, through one room, through the second room, went outside and buried itself in the yard. I was scared shitless. I went and put the gun. I got this little safe. I had this little safe in my bedroom. I went and put the gun in there, left it in there, and tried to cover up the holes in case the police came around, because in the town I was living in, it was against the law to fire a firearm within town limits. And I lived in the town, but nothing ever happened. Nothing came of it. The holes it made right? It went right through. I mean, it didn't even burst out. It made, because it was Full Metal Jacket, by the way. It went right through it, and I just got some of that paste and pasted the holes up, sanded them down, and no, nothing happened there. Yeah. So, am I saying too much? Everybody's gone quiet. So, that. I mean, that was the. I think that was the only time. Yeah, that was the only Nixon discharge I had. Scared the shit out of me. Scared the hell out of my cats too. That loud bang, boom, man. They jumped so high. They went running. They stayed. I mean, they hid for about 4 hours before they would come out of wherever they were. So,
ain't as bad as a negative discharge.
So. Yeah, I almost shot my TV. It was quite, I would have been quite upset. But, but I said it went through there. It went through the one wall, through the other, and it went out. I said when it went past the TV, went through a wall, and through the living room. I'm glad nobody was there. And as it was heading downward trajectory, and when it hit past the TV, it hit the wall. And you could see outside in the yard where it sort of went into the ground. So I was very lucky that it didn't hit anybody or anything.
What kind of exterior treatment did you have? I mean, wood or vinyl?
Oh, it was the house had vinyl siding on it, but it was wood. It was wood. I think it was wood under the vinyl siding. It was, but it went through it like butter.
Hollow point would have stopped it. You'd been okay if you'd had hollow points.
Yeah, I mean, even where it came out through the vinyl siding outside was a round hole, size of a 230 grain 45 ACP Full Metal Jacket. And all I did with that was that hole, right? Because it was white vinyl, and I took my toothpaste and filled the hole with that because it was the same color.
Hey, Rob, you still got a video up on YouTube where you were doing your drywall testing?
Yeah. Yeah, they're still up there.
Yeah, Rob's got video out there. How many layers of wall does a bullet go through?
I saw that when it went quite a few.
More than I assembled.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 walls, I think I had on demonstration. Maybe 6. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look myself. So. But yeah, it went through pretty well. Most around, basically everything pretty much went through. Actually, maybe not everything.
Drywall's no protection whatsoever.
No, not much at all. A lot of debate on what rounds for indoors and this and that. And that's kind of what sparked the video in a sense. I would just hinder people, be careful with whatever you're using. Because it's, drywall doesn't stop much.
No.
It's amazing that fleece blankets do.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the only part of a drywall that would stop it is the stud it was nailed to. Maybe.
Yeah. It depends on, your round, what type of, what caliber around, all that type of stuff makes a difference, obviously. But being able to guarantee you're not going to hit one or hit one, that's a tough call to make either way. So, but yeah, most structures of homes, basically around, obviously, if you don't know, will pretty much go right through without any problems. So, I would tend to think if you shot outside your neighbor's house, more rounds would go through than not, depending on how many walls are in there. So, yeah, so it's a chance. It's something to think about, especially if you got, crazy neighbors that don't think things through. So I had one years ago that, his answer was slugs and a shotgun for everything. And our house is like 5 feet apart, that concerned me. So,
Yeah.
but,
Also, good point to knowledge to know is a crossbow will go through a bedroom wall, and it'll go through hollow interior doors.
There you go. Was that raining in Georgia there, well armed? When your camera on?
Yeah, it's pouring down rain here.
Yeah. It's 94 degrees here and sunny. So,
I think it's about 75 right now.
We've had rain here almost every day for 2 weeks.
We have
some of it really heavy rain too.
Yeah.
Today's our first day, and I'm kind of like you. Once I got home, it's too hot to go back outside.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wind this down because the cats are hungry. I'm hungry. I'm going to put some hot dogs on the grill. I might do a side salad, but I'm not sure. Don't know if I want to go to the extra effort of doing it.
John Brown Productions just stopped by.
Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. I'm about ready to close it down. But anyway, before I do that, let me remind everybody on my mailing quiz for next Saturday. I got a few entries this time because it was an easy one. For the swag pack for the drawing on this next Saturday, what I wanted to know in the original movie Predator, I wanted to know what firearm Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Dutch as he was known in the movie, what firearm he used and what he had on it. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it in to me by 12 noon next Saturday, Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Summertime, or whatever they call it now. But Eastern Time Zone, the only time zone that matters. So there we go. I'm so that's that. So let's go around here. Who we got up there in the corner? Is that Jason? Any shout outs or plugs?
Good to see everybody today, man. Thanks for the invite. It was a good show as always. And everybody enjoy your summer.
All right, thanks. New York Outcast, you got anything?
Just thanks for having me, and I'd encourage you to take the time to make the salad. Everybody else, have a good evening.
I was waiting for something on that. You went silent on me when I first said it. I thought, oh, he didn't hear me. All right, the man, the myth, the legend, Patriot in the Dark.
Well, thanks for having me. I had a delivery come, so I was chasing around young lady. So, yeah, thanks for having me. Everybody, make it a great day, and make sure you look at the other things that they're trying to distract you with, or vice versa. Look at things that aren't the things they're distracting you with. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Well and well armed. You got anything?
Yeah, I've got a couple more of these nice videos coming out from Blade Show, and then I'm trying to do 2 a day just to get rid of them, and then I'm gonna actually do a couple comparisons of some real nice knives I picked up, and then I'll go back to guns.
Okay. All right. Now, real quick on that, on one of your videos you put out today, I think, isn't that the one of those companies, what, Benchmark or Benchmade or whatever you call them?
Yep, Benchmade.
Isn't that the company everybody's pissed at?
Yeah, that's the company everybody's pissed at. They in the city, they had a bunch of guns destroyed and they were they offered their machines to help destroy the guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people boycotted them because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they tried to make amends, but they also donated to some anti-gun organizations too.
Yeah.
So, but that original founder, he died, so I think it's got some new blood there.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. All right. So I'm going to wind this down. We got everybody. Rob left us. So he had to go somewhere or he got disconnected. He said, I got to run. So there we go. All right. So I'm going to say to everybody in the chat, thank you for being here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon down here in sunny southern Indiana. I appreciate you all stopping by. I will be back again next Saturday, but I will also be here this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Shooting with Disabilities. So I will see you all then. So what I say is good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye, Sabrina.
I was waiting for you to do that. I thought I was going to have to do